next speaker is Aaron Smith Hawkins. He studies bacteria to learn their secrets. Can you imagine? One bacteria to the other. Shh, don't say anything. He's looking. He's going to share some science with you that is simple enough for a child to understand. Please welcome our chemical engineer, Aaron Smith Hawkins.
I am definitely ready. I'm ready to start, and I have to keep talking. So I'm extremely grateful to be here and have a chance to speak with you all tonight. I study renewable energy development and also bacteria, as was mentioned. And so I hope to share some of the insights that I've gained from my science with you all in a way that can be accessible without any of the jargon or technical language. So thermodynamics is what initially made me fall in love with science, and thermodynamics literally means the movement of energy. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about the way energy moves through systems in loops and spirals of transformation, and I'm also going to talk to you about power, both in regards to the sources of power that we use and take for granted in our daily life, but also in regards to the rate of our consumption of that. And I'm going to tie that in a little bit with political and social power. And my hope is in doing this that it'll help reveal to you something about our current energy situation and also something about our hopes for a renewable energy future. So there's a Greek myth about Prometheus who steals fire from the gods and gives it to humans. And Prometheus was punished for this because presumably humans couldn't be trusted to handle the power of fire. Now, this is definitely an ancient myth, but I think it's really appropriate as a framework for understanding our modern energy crisis. So fire gives us power because combustion liberates the stored chemical energy in whatever it is that we're burning so that we can use that for work or transformation. And it's also a potent symbol of raw elemental force because it can consume and destroy things if it gets out of hand. So the source of the energy when we burn something is actually the sun. Now the sun is this gigantic nuclear fusion reactor floating in the middle of space, and we're on a rock inside a bubble of air that's circling around the sun, constantly being bathed in its solar radiation. So all of the energy, all of the life on this planet really is sustained by the power of the sun. Now, photosynthetic plants are kind of the gateway for that energy. They capture the incoming solar light and then they convert it into a chemical format. And so everything really, plants, animals, even human bodies, is both literally made up of and animated by solar energy. So when we eat food, we're actually breaking apart molecules to liberate the sunlight that's stored in there to power our bodies. So to a scientist, when I look at an ecosystem, I see a landscape of energetic exchange. I see energy going from the sun into plants, from plants into animals, and animals back into the soil. So it flows down every day, and we can sort of look at it as if there's this daily solar income that comes in, sort of like a budget. And that budget is all of the energy that's available to an ecosystem to run on. So this is one of the reasons why there's a limit on the size and on the number of large animals in an ecosystem, is because there's a limit to the amount of sunlight that's coming in every day. And so the further removed we are from the sunlight, the less energy there is available to work with because of inefficiencies. So early humans have actually known about fire since about 125,000 years ago at least, which is way, way longer than we've had civilization, which is only about 5,000 years old. So clearly knowledge of fire neither propelled us directly into the industrial age or brought about the ruin of humankind. But at the same time, we were also developing cities and we were learning how to do agriculture. And so it was a pretty amazing thing when we started to domesticate animals. And the idea there is that we were actually extracting the power from the muscles of animals and using that to help build our civilization. And so it's about at the same time that we got cities that we also had the creation of things like class, wealth, and poverty. And so human slavery is actually just an extension of this same idea that you can harness someone else's energy, that you can extract the power from their muscles. And human energy powered almost every economy, along with animals and fire, from the Roman Empire all the way up to colonial America. And so fossil fuels really continues this same trend, only now instead of extracting energy from the body of animals, we're extracting it directly from the body of the Earth. And however, fossil fuels really, we like to think of them as being different than solar fuels, but fossil fuels were actually created from the bodies, the remains of photosynthetic algae. So these algae grew tens of millions of years ago, but they were still essentially powered by solar energy. And so because of that, fossil fuels really are also solar fuels. And since we've tapped into fossil fuels, we've seen an unprecedented and amazing spike of growth in human life. Our cities have become these huge, power-hungry behemoths that are far larger than any animal that's ever existed. And this is all due to fossil fuels. But as I said, the energy for fossil fuels was accruing for tens of millions of years. And so instead of working within the daily solar budget, we've been living outside of the energy landscape. And because of that, we really have a completely skewed idea of how energy works. It's essentially like we're trust fund energy babies. So we've been living out of this account, spending it recklessly with no idea of the amount of energy and work it took to amass that fortune. And so now we're paying the price for it. You know, we go to greater and greater lengths to get the energy we need. And so as this happens, you know, we finally have, in the past, you know, few decades, begun to confront the fact that fossil fuels are actually a limited resource. And so we're looking for a way to turn towards clean, renewable energy to replace dirty fossil fuels. But the fact of the matter is that renewable energy will require us to get back within the daily solar budget, to be a part of to be a part of an ecosystem rather than lording above it. And so there's a limit. And I say this is, if you take anything away from tonight, the truth is that we cannot continue to consume energy as we have been with fossil fuels. If we do so, it'll lead to even greater destruction and loss of biodiversity. So fortunately for all of us, there are a number of people who have already begun to plant seeds for a new economy. And so this is sometimes called the renewable economy or sustainable economy. And the idea is that we can try to meet the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to do the same. It's definitely really cool. There's a lot of neat stuff going on. And so ultimately, I mean, we stand at one of the most pivotal points in all of human history. And it's definitely a pretty scary moment because the unknown is always really scary. But if we can make it through this transition away from fossil fuels and back to an ecosystem awareness of energy, then maybe we can vindicate the trust that Prometheus once showed us. Maybe we can actually prove that humans can have the wisdom to use fire without letting our appetites overwhelm us. Thank you.